It was a tough loss for the Chargers, a bad loss. Their offense was not clicking all day. However, I don't think that the sky is falling on the Chargers just yet. Yeah, for the Chargers, they go out, they lose to the Giants 21-18. Not a great, loss. You don't want to have a loss to the Giants, was specifically a team that's 0-3. But I do think there are factors we really got to obviously acknowledge and consider before we go clowning the Chargers. They were playing Jaxson Dart in this first game, and clearly this is difficult because it was a scheme that they'd been developing since the preseason that they were going to use with Jaxson Dart, since they drafted him really and had the idea. You kind of saw they want to be a power running team with both him and Scadaboo, and they just unleashed that full on the Chargers. They didn't really know what to expect, but that was the offense. And they just went downhill, and Dart looked really, really good. Like, obviously, if you catch the Giants, the Chiefs got to play with Russell Wilson. I think you win the game just as handily, if not a little more handily, because what started happening was they just got hit with just bad combination of stuff. The Giants D-line that everyone said was going to be number one in the league looked like that. Joe Alt leaves the game, so Herbert is under pressure on 21 plays. It was just a bad combination of a lot of components, and it's the NFL. One thing we do have to say, though, about the Chargers is that Oline, specifically, with the injury they suffered to Stanley at the beginning of the year, just not the same right now. Hold up, let me make sure I get his name right, because I just said Stanley, but I gotta double check. Sorry, Chargers fans. But I do think that that's going to be a problem on the offensive line. But I mean, of all the teams to go up against, with that being the case, it's just the Giants were just on. I mean, Abdul Carter just seems like he's in his mode. Brian Burns was making plays. There was a lot of plays being made out there. Lad McConkey didn't have a great game. He had a drop. Couple stuff down the field. Now for the Chargers, one good thing is the run game started getting going, specifically on a shotgun run. Amarian Hampton, he was going crazy, just made a couple of huge plays. Really almost got a second touchdown if Okereke didn't stop him. So definitely not all bad for the Chargers. And I think their defense, Minter, I think he's a very good defensive coordinator. But this game, there were just things that he just didn't expect from the Giants, because we didn't know what to expect because he didn't have it on film yet. Plus, as well, going west to east, that's a tough component. But that's it. Taking the kitty gloves off. Herbert, I saw a letter. Herbert has always been clutch. It was like a mad fan saying that we disrespect Herbert. I mean, he had 2 interceptions. Like, you can't do that and win games. Yes, you're going west to east. It was tough conditions. D-line screaming. And maybe every quarterback would have 2 picks in that situation. But when you're considered an MVP guy, when people are comparing you to Peyton Manning on certain shows that I watch, like, that's the expectation. I'm not doing that. I think Herbert's really good. I think he's outside of the top 5, but I think he's a very good quarterback with the potential to be that for sure. But it's a playoff sport, and in the playoffs he hasn't looked good. But this year, I'll give him the respect. Like, he looked very good early, very clutch game against the Broncos, and this was a bad game. It's still being figured out, but that D-line is definitely, it's going to be a problem. It's not all his fault, but just because something's not your fault doesn't mean it's not your problem, and that they got to figure that out, because he's getting smoked out there, and it's now happened back-to-back weeks. He's got to get rid of the ball quicker. They got to run more screens. They got to do something, because there's a lot of leaks on that offensive line right now, which is kind of wild, because it's a Jim Harbaugh thing, and this is literally what he's been trying to build over everything else. Rashawn Slater going out All-Pro. He went out in the preseason. So it's like that's what they wanted to have. That's what the designs were to have. But now both of those bookend tackles out, and it was just a tough day for her. But you can't throw 2 picks. I'm sorry, you can't do that. One of them was just, I mean, the Dexter Lawrence play was just crazy, I know, But some of these picks got to be on you. He throws picks, and even last week I was like, oh, maybe that one's that one. You're throwing a lot of them. You just got to be more careful with the football. And the other one was a messed up pick play, fine. But I don't know. It's a lot easier to sit on my couch and say this and look at it in slow-mo. But if the dude's already get bumped and he's falling down, or if something looks a little weird with it, you can't throw that high. It's got to be low. You can't throw that interception. That was a game-changing pick and play. I believe that led to the touchdown that put the Giants up 11. That game was close. It was like right there the whole time. And then the next time Omarion Hampton gets a touchdown, Herb at some point in that game has to make plays to win that game. It's tough circumstances, right? O-line banged up, defensive line screaming, crowd energetic, but and right now we'll still readjust. I don't know who it is, but I think for 1 week we got to chill with the Herb MVP talk. That wasn't good. That was not a good game. I'm sorry. He made some good plays. That's cool, but the 2 interceptions, the whole, and it wasn't just him. It wasn't just Herb having a bad game. That whole offense it just looked weird. It didn't look like they looked in those first couple of games, and they had those moments, by the way, against the Broncos as well. It seems like Greg Roman's trying to run a very complex offense with a lot of options in the middle of the routes. So if everyone's on the same page, that's going to be a problem, and that offense would work a lot better, obviously, with Slater and Alt, because you'd have time to make those reads. But Herb, because of the pressure, now has to make those decisions quicker, and the receivers have to make them quicker. So it's definitely going to be an adjustment. I think they got to do something a little different until at least Alt gets back, depending on how long he's out, or protect more people, block a tight end, do something, because he's getting screamed at, and that's just not going to be a good formula for them going forward. Real quick, obviously we like to look at the team's next game, see what the road ahead is. Oh, another thing, obviously, we have to mention, too, with the Chiefs winning, now you're only up 1 in the division. Yes, you have the tiebreaker on, but you want to keep distance from them. They're like the fucking boogeyman. So that's not great either. It does the Commanders, they lost to the Falcons. They should beat the Commanders. I think the Chargers are better than Commanders. You get the Commanders and the Dolphins, and then you get the Colts. That Colts game is huge. Real big game. But you just lost to the Giants, so you can't take anyone easy. But you got to go out there, win these next 2. You got to get to 5-1, and then for that Colts game, whatever happens. So not the end of the world. Tough situation. It's a team that's been preparing their whole preseason, offseason, and first 3 games. They were gushing to the Sunday Night Football people. The Collinsworth, man, when Dax Dart gets in there, they just didn't want to play him against the Chiefs. And they picked you guys, and I thought that you guys were going to be able to handle them, but they handled you guys. It's a tough loss. Not the worst thing in the world, though. Still can easily be the 1 seed, even though the Colts look like they're ahead on that right now. Really great position in the division. So we'll see what they do next week against the Commanders and whoever they're starting at quarterback. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do weekly videos for each team. So we have playlists directed to your team and the week in the description. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and most importantly, comment in that section. I'd love to talk to you guys about what you think about the videos, what could be improved, what I did right. Thank you again. Lumia Sports. Peace.